Perfect. What's going on, guys?
Howdy.
So, Rob, did you get any?
Another
did you get
day,
anybody
another
hit?
day in the freezer.
Yeah, no, it's cold. Did you get anybody hitting your DMs after you pulled out your underwear on cam? Anybody
There
sliding in
was a
those
few
DMs?
comments. I had a couple.
Yeah, nobody
Yes.
was sliding into your DMs though. Do
No,
you know what that
no.
means?
No, I have no idea.
Have you figured out what podcast is yet?
I do not know what DMs are. Demilitarized zones.
That would be a DMZ.
Yes. Well, I was close.
Well, were you though? Mike, do you know what? You have to know what DM is.
Drama
You're up on the times.
matchings.
Direct message.
There it is. There it is, Rob. DMs, direct messages
And where would I find those?
in your messages.
In your
On
messages.
I'd find those on my
Your
Facebook page.
messages is probably a good place to look.
I guess you could also just wait till 3 a.m. after the podcast, and I'm pretty sure you had about 14 people that were probably slide right on in there.
Well, I know I shared it, and that I don't do very, very often. So
Yeah, you support what we do very well, Rob. You know, it's just a bummer. And we're hoping to get Mr. Telfer in here at some point in time, and we're hoping to get Molina Mike in here too, as if he's able to join from.
Jim
Derby
had
City.
said he's got some baby duties.
Yeah, and he said he can only handle one of them. He couldn't handle the other four of the base. So he was, I don't know, that was a rude thing he said. I didn't like it. It made bad. Mike, are you gonna talk to me that way?
Well, I think you can just kick them right off of your top 10 ranked show and influencers in pool.
Yeah, there you go. You know what's pretty cool actually, Panozzo? There was Madison Magazine found out one of the listeners, I think Rob Miller, reached out to them and told them about the list that we made, and that we were able to interview Jason Shaw, and they actually want to interview the podcast now and become part of Madison Magazine. I have no idea what it is.
Very nice.
So that's kind of neat.
That's
making
great.
Make some strides.
There you go.
All publicity is good publicity. Why don't we get jumping right into the podcast today? That sounds like fun. What do we want to talk about first? Do we want to talk about the matchroom schedule first?
Sure.
You had that up.
Yeah, we certainly covered a lot of that last time, but I think there's a lot more to it. They've added a couple of events since they came out with their first announcement, and they added 2 U.S. events and another European event, which kind of surprised me.
What was the European event that they had?
Because I thought that they were going to lay off. They were going to lay off other European events until they got 3 or 4 more U.S. events added. They added the Kremlin Cup.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. They would switch to 9-ball, and be part of the group. And then 2 NBL, National Billiard League events from New Jersey. So the events they added weren't big money events, but they're tied into the before and after other events that are on the schedule, which is smart. So it gives players something else to kind of enter, to get on board with, to get in stroke with for the big events. I think next year I wouldn't be surprised if there's some minimums on prize money, total prize money, and added prize money. And then it'll be a little bit tough for people like the NBL and Euro tours to stay in the mix. That's the whole idea, is to get promoters to want to be part of the list. And to be a part of this list, you have to come up with some decent money. So we'll see how that goes.
So do you think that that's a promoter issue, or do you think that's a sponsor issue at the end of the day? Panozzo. Mike, can you hear me?
He's trying to work his way in here.
Can you see me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, let me try to refresh. Sorry, guys.
You've got a lot of black on.
So Panozzo, let me ask you this question: do you think that is going to be an issue that falls on the sponsors or the organizers?
The organizers
Organizers.
of each event, promoter of each event. So, if they want to be on it, they're going to have to guarantee that money when they make their pitch to Matchroom to be part of the equation, right? So to be able to make that pitch and to guarantee that money, they have to have their sponsors on board already. So it's certainly not going to be up to Matchroom to find everybody their sponsors. It's going to be up to each event. And so it's just a matter of, can some promoters in the U.S. and Europe develop some sponsors to start coming up with $50,000 added tournaments and higher? That would be the goal, I would think, to be on the list. That's where you'd want to be, at least at that level and higher. The thing that this doesn't even address at all, Mikey, what this doesn't
There
address
he
at
is.
all is, in the next couple of years, you got to assume that they want Asia to be part of this equation too, right? So,
You'd like to have everywhere.
to a certain
Australia.
extent, I think it kind of. So I think to a certain extent they got a little bit of a break in the first year because of COVID, where they could get this thing off the ground and running, and really only have to deal with the U.S. and Europe before trying to bring in the entire world. But now they can kind of take a couple baby steps and add in Europe, add in New Zealand, add in Australia, whoever wants to have an event. And then you start to manipulate a calendar so that you're in this part of the world for these couple of months, you're in this part of the world for these couple of months,
Yep.
and you're not zigzagging back and forth. That's the ideal. But this is going to be, Emily always says, 5 years down the road, but I like to see it 3 years down the road. Hopefully that's what we're going to see.
Well, we got Molina
That's a
Mike
great
joining. How's it going,
observation,
Mike?
Mike. I got to agree with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was a little late, guys. I thought we were jumping on at the 30. My bad.
You're all good. We'll just start calling you. We'll just start calling.
Yeah,
We'll just start calling you Demetrius, and they'll all good.
Yeah, I'm dogging it. It's all good.
So how's the event so far? How's Derby?
Give us an update on what's going on.
Yeah, everything so far. I mean, it's barely the calm before the storm, so to speak. I think Banks is kicking off already. The Bigfoot's already one match underway. So Fedor's picking up right where he left off. Just demolished Ruiz. But yeah, I mean, so far it's like everyone's kind of piling in here. There's a bit of a buzz in the room. I think everyone, was really excited seeing how we missed out on the event last year. So, but yeah, it's going great so far.
Yeah, I heard that the numbers are really big. That they're, almost to what their limit would be for the 9-ball already. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. And I mean, you can tell the effects of Matchroom having this a ranking event. You can see it with the caliber of players that are here. That I haven't been here every year. I've been here one time, so I'll just say that full disclosure. But the one time I was here, it wasn't like this. There's players from all over the world that are here. A lot of Europeans. I believe I saw. Obviously Double J's here already as well. I believe Emily said she'll be out here later on this week. And then the European coach is also here. So a lot of eyes keeping an eye on what's going on, in the next 7 days. It'll really have a footprint to how the rest of the year is going to go.
I feel like there's a number of Europeans there who haven't been there for a while. Guys or ever, like Albin.
Right.
So it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they're all fighting, especially on the European side. They're really fighting for, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 spots. So
It's going to be really interesting to see what they handle the format. With those Europeans, like the Europeans, I don't think there are events like this.
The Dern City, I think, is kind of a knockoff of the Derby City over there. So that's a little bit close. And a lot of these Europeans have played in this event before, so they know what it's like. A lot of them haven't. But, like Mike said, I mean, that's a dogfight for those European players to look for. There's going to be a couple of spots in the Whirlpool Masters. There's going to be a couple of spots in the World Cup of Pool. only be a couple spots that are going to be guaranteed for them at the Mosconi Cup. So it's going to be a dogfight this year, right, Mike?
Well, I mean, and if it ends up being what Emily said, it will be, this is the beginning of how 23 will be shaped up, right? Because 23 should essentially be based off of a full calendar of actual play, no more of the quote unquote politics of it, and I think they'll go. I think it's something like for the Masters, something like 20-4, like 20 spots from the rankings, and then maybe 4 that are going to be wild cards. So yeah, I mean, this is the beginning of what these guys are going to be playing for the next 2 years. Starting this week. So, I mean, it can be understated, and yeah, like I said, I mean, you can really see it with the guys that are here. Everyone seems to be real hungry. I mean, besides the payday and everything else and the buzz and the action and it's derby and all that, it seems like there's more of a prestige now that Matchroom's kind of made it a ranking event, more proper, so to speak. So,
Any noticeable people missing?
no.
Besides me?
Yeah, well, yeah, you definitely should have been here. Actually, yeah, all of you guys should have been here. But no, I mean, I was surprised to go and see, Billy here, but he's a defending one pocket champion, so I was really glad to go and see him. I was able to chat with him for a few minutes, which was good. But no, I mean, nobody that stands out, Mike. But I think on the American side, especially, I mean, it's wide open. I don't think anybody's spot is secure, and not just from a Mosconi Cup standpoint, but when you think about a matchroom standpoint of having the Americans show up, I mean, you would think Shane and Sky are going to be automatics, but let one of these kids go and have a breakout year, and they're going to force their hand.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. And hoping it happens.
Yeah.
We need it. We need the
Well, I
boost.
mean, a little bit of pressure and putting some heat on these guys at the top is important for the game, I think, and even from the European standpoint, I mean, you would think Albin's a lock, you would think Jason's a lock, Josh, right? Those would be guys that I would say are have a pretty good shot at making the Mosconi Cup, but I don't think any of them feel that way. I think all of them are just used to having to go out there and earn it and play well,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Have you seen the goat play yet?
He's hitting pretty sporty, Mike. Last time I seen him, he's been playing. He's been playing some matches leading up to this event, and it wasn't like how I saw him 2 years ago. 2 years ago it seemed like he was just a shell of himself. It's not the same, which is great because you would think like 2 years later it would just be that much worse, right? But it really wasn't. I mean, how special would it be if he were to go and make some waves here, right? If he goes and and on 4.5-inch pockets playing one pocket, he's certainly capable,
Yeah,
Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you that I've seen around on Facebook the last few days. Why isn't Sky playing the Bigfoot?
I really don't know how they go and offer it invitational wise, or if players got to be proactive and reach out. There's like Max is head scratching. I don't understand how Max is playing in.
Good for Max Everett. Good for him.
When you got Lechner here, you got Albin here, you got Sky here on the sidelines. I mean, you got some pretty big names that are on the sidelines, and we got Max Everett out there. And no disrespect to him, but I mean, that's kind of the elephant.
Been hitting him good.
Dennis is hitting him great. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I think are deserving, but I mean, aside from that, no, I mean, I think it's pretty.
Is Aloysius Yap there?
I think
he's
it's
not,
pretty,
right?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. But I mean, even Oi's here, so it's like there's a lot of guys.
Yeah, Naoki Oi would have been great.
Gone and put in that spot.
Who doesn't want to see Naoki Oi play?
Yeah, for sure.
What? I'll wait. Tell me who.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got Jason here, who's defending champion. He's got like a air about him, man. Like when he's in the room, there's an excitement about him after what he accomplished this week, So
Good for him.
I'll be honest, like after my first year here a couple of years ago, I really wasn't expecting much, and I really wasn't looking forward to it. It's completely different now that I'm here. You know, there's an excitement about it that wasn't here a couple of years ago. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a really special week, but it's just the beginning. It's going to be a long grind. I mean, I went to bed early yesterday, but, I mean, players were up all night, and they'll be up all day and all night again tonight. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be a great week of pool.
Are you going to be doing any commentary there, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'll try to do whatever content that I can, but I don't have anything, planned otherwise. But hopefully we can go and try to bring like a different experience of Derby to everybody back home, as far as they'll let me. I'll put it like that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's the trick, is they want to give up their content to other people. Unfortunately, that's
Yeah,
not the way it is.
it's a little bit tough, but
Yeah.
we're gonna do our best, man. And yeah, I'll stay busy.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we jump into the main
The word out
topic
is
if you
what it's
are
all
okay with
about.
that? Yeah. Let's
sure.
talk into let's jump into
Yeah.
Reyito Gomez and Efron Reyes. We haven't talked about. We touched on it a little bit with Jade, but like Jason just deserved his own time, and like we had to give that there. So, who wants to start? Does anybody have a strong desire to start? Normally, Jim would.
Is there?
Panozzo,
Yeah, Jim would go dead
Yeah.
off right now for sure.
Yeah,
Can
Jim
you
would
explain the
going dead off.
situation, or you don't have the tape there to show, do you?
Well, I don't have it available. The situation is they're not at uphill hill, playing for a couple $1,000, like 3,000 or 4,000 or something like that. And Reyito Gomez has kind of a testy three ball. It goes into like a quarter of a pocket. It's not very much at all. And the 6 ball's hanging over the jaws of the pocket wall. They're playing 10 ball. Reyito Gomez very, very clearly calls the 10 ball. I don't think that anybody's defending that. He didn't defend it himself. In fact, the only thing that he said when he was defending himself is nobody would say anything to me because they knew I'd break their arms if they did. A guy who's 87 pounds is telling you he's going to break his arms. All right, that's great. So he misses the 3 ball, makes the 6 ball, and then keeps shooting right away as if he called the 6 ball. Completely lying. Everyone knows.
But there's a
everyone in the
language
room-
barrier there. There's a language
barrier,
there
absolutely. There is.
between Efron and Ray.
Yes. Of course, Efron's native language is not English. As far as I know, he speaks it okay. Not phenomenal. He speaks okay. But Reyito does not speak it very well at all, from my understanding. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
So Reyes actively makes the
I
choice.
think what the hell was that is pretty universal language.
Yeah, it is, Mike.
I think if you jump up and say, "What the are you doing?" Pretty much people understand.
Well, and this kind of gets to Efron Reyes as a player, right? Especially at this point in his career, is like he's probably the most laid back, goofy, have fun, let's just like hit some balls around and have a good time with it type of player that you possibly find, especially at the point in his career. But he was always that way. Like you can find a million videos of Earl doing crazy things, or even Johnny getting a little worked up. You can't find anything with Efron going off at any point in time. The guy is just super chill and relaxed. Like, he's not jumping up. Like, he's trusting Reyito to do the right thing. And what Reyito did was blatantly cheat, shoot fast so that he could get away with it. Go on, but Mike.
I think he kind of looked up, like waiting to be called on it. But here's my issue with that whole sequence of events is that you can't wait until the man goes and hits 2 more balls to finally go and open your mouth, right? If you're going to call somebody out, or you're going to go and call a foul on somebody, or whatever it may be, you got to go and do it. You cannot go and wait and then go and say, and that's the reason why. Once he got called on it, he says, why am I being called on it? Because you know what? It had already been 2 balls later. Now, I'll also give credit to the fact that after all the Facebook, needling, and it was well deserved, at least he went on there and said, you know what? I messed up. Like, I didn't do the right thing.
Did he
I
give the
should
money
have
back?
handled it differently.
Did he give the money back?
Well, he didn't get any money that night, though. They stopped play, and then they picked it up and started over the night after, or 2 days after, something like that. So
So
that
him
night,
that's
because I think it was like Hill. No, because so they stopped it at that point. So he didn't get any money that night. They
Okay.
came back and played it over again a day or two later, whatever it was, and then he wins, fair and square with the referee there, in Gary, and yeah, I mean, I think, like, number one, how dumb can you be to go and do that when you got the entire room watching you, when you got
On
a
the stream.
camera that's right there, pointed down towards the table. Does the guy pull moves, and is he known to have a terrible reputation? 1,000%. But it's like you can't just go and crucify him. If the guy goes and owns up to it and he says, I made a mistake, like, that's all you can go and ask from at that point. And for all these people and saying, like, he ought to be blacklisted and never give him action again. Listen, the guy does not play great, and he likes to bet high. That's like every pro's dream right there. He bets high and he doesn't always run out. So he's gonna get play for as long as he wants to.
I think he only played a little bit better than I do, right? Is that, like, I mean, Fargo,
Yeah.
right? He's
And
just a little over 700.
Well, I mean, and when I say that, I only say that based off of, like, a pro scale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
of course,
it's not
yeah.
like I mean, he plays decent. He's a great player compared to me. But when you talk about all the monsters he goes and lines up with, I mean, that's why they want to go and play against him.
Yeah. I think I
But,
gotta remember,
I mean, for
looking
sure,
up, like, he's only
he's the
like a
epitome of
709 or something like that.
Yeah, but he doesn't get excited from playing, tournaments,
Of
so
course.
he's just a money player. I mean, like,
Of course.
primarily. But I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a good look for sure. I'm sure obviously he regrets it. Mike, what do you
Yeah,
say?
so you can go.
No, I 100%. I mean, it's just a bad move and looks bad, and it was a gambling match. And you said he's a
Gambling match.
It's a gambling match, and he's a money player, and they don't usually have 100 people and someone videotaping when they're playing those matches. So those guys it's not unusual for some players of that ilk to be, to look for edges, to cut corners, to cheat somebody out of something. I mean, that's.
I don't. I no. I gotta put.
Usually in a gambling match, it's between the two players. Also, it's not between anybody else on the rail. It's not between any stake horse. Nobody else can go and open their mouth.
I get you there, but that's
has
different.
to go and call the foul. So
that is not finding edges and cutting corners. I mean, I'm sorry. I gotta. Like, it's not like Jeffrey DeLuna breaking 9 inches outside of the kitchen is cutting corners, I would say. I don't know that gives you a huge competitive advantage, but he did it anyways. Like, this is and this goes back to, like, when I said, did he give the money back? And you said, well, he beat him fair and square. No, he didn't beat him fair and square. And I got to push back on that too, because, like, Efron wins that set from there. There's no way he doesn't win that set from there. Oh, I made him mad. I'm sorry, Panozzo.
No.
Yay. But, like, there's just no way that Efron doesn't run out from there. And whether they're betting 5 nickels or they're betting $5 million, the point is Efron wins that set from there. So at the end of the day, he cheats, and, like, that's it. Like, Efron ends up at the set down when he should have been even. Like, he should have been even with him. You want to say he beat him the next day fair and square? Great, I'm okay with that. But that still only puts him even because Efron is running up from there, and it's just such a bad look. It's just so disgusting to me. And, like, if you want to do this against someone like, I don't know, if you want to do this against, it's different if you're doing it against Jeff DeLuna, somebody like that who's he's been known to play on the edge of the rules, or Corey Duel, like the same way. But to do it to GOAT, like Efron Reyes, why you gotta do it to Efron? Why? Like, it's so bad. It just drives me nuts. Rob, what do you think?
Well, I'm not in favor of cheating. I know that. But there definitely is and can be a language barrier. I've noticed it a little bit in my 3-cushion play the last 4 years. There's a lot of Hispanics that play 3-cushion. And I actually ran into playing a fella named Tamateo, a Hispanic player, and he was about to shoot my ball, and I wanted to stop him from doing that, and I said, sir, a couple times, and then I almost stood up, and everybody in the whole room heard me at one point, and then he stopped what he was doing and turned around and looked at me and went, "Well, what's going on?" I said, "Well, you're about to shoot my ball." And he came over to me and he put his hands on my shoulders and he said, "God bless you. You're for being and stopping me from fouling, committing a foul." And I've also noticed in three cushion that most of the time when you're about to shoot the wrong ball and your opponent notices it, they won't let you fall. They will tell you that you're about to do that, although not every time. And when they don't say something, then in the back of your mind, you're going, did they let me fall on purpose? Knowing that I'm about to make this easy point, and maybe you might be on the hill, or it has happened to me on the hill. And I have to think that they just did not see that. So, and I've been in a lot of pocket pool matches over the last 50, 60 years where a guy will think that you foul, come up to the table and just move the balls around and grab the cue ball and say, "Hey, you fouled," and that's it. Now he's grabbed the ball. Now in your mind, he's committed the foul. And sometimes you're in that position where you want to say, "Well, I don't want to get in a fist fight at this point with this guy. So I'm just going to back off." And instead of saying, "Hey, find me a tournament director, find me somebody that can answer this question immediately." So there's other factors that come into that play, especially when there's just two people at the table. Now, in this day and age with the streaming, that changes things because there's a record of what happens, but that doesn't change what happens at the moment. What only thing that can change what happens at the moment is the other player. That's it. And if you just don't say anything, then play goes on and it's too late. I know in three cushion billiards, if you shoot the wrong ball and you make 3 or 4 points, and then your opponent notices that you've shot the wrong ball, you get those points. They don't take them away from you.
All right.
You just don't
After
get the
a certain
last point.
After a certain point, you slept it. You know, and to me, that's what happened in that spot. But I mean, was it a move for sure? But you got to go and call it right away. You know, you can't let the
Yes,
guy go and keep on
absolutely.
going.
Immediately got to call it.
You know, yeah, for
Stop
sure.
the play,
But
call it, get your point across if you're the opponent.
yeah, absolutely.
Even if there's no ref there, tournament director at hand. Otherwise, it's
It's
too
just
late.
sad. It's just really sad.
But I
It
mean, the
is
guy's just
sad.
he's a knucklehead for doing that for doing that on a live stream and with the pool room full of fans going and watching you play Efron. Like, if anything else, he's at least guilty of being an idiot. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're not gonna. It doesn't look like we're
We
getting Jim
react
in the.
under different circumstances in different ways.
Right.
It doesn't look like we're getting Jim in the conversation, but it looks like he's at least in the chat. That looks like a Jim comment.
He's feeding the baby.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, buddy.
He's playing dad dude right now. So, I mean, I guess I said my piece on that. Like, I didn't even watch the second day. Like, I don't want, like, if I never watch another Reyes Gomez match, it'll be too soon. Like, I don't want to support somebody who does that kind of stuff, and it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I don't like watching anything that has to promote that man's brand. So I'm kind of done with that match. I have nothing real else to say. Does anybody else have anything to say on this?
Nope.
Well, he ain't making
No.
the Moscone Cup. I can promise you that.
It'd be hard being Dominican, that's for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the Arcadia Open, and for the second year in a row, Fedor wins that tournament. And I mean, was it? I think I saw like Fargo Rate posted something. He's been playing over like an 850 or an 860 Fargo now for like 6 months in a row. Like, is Fedor reaching a new level of high that we've never seen in this game? I mean, it's a little early to say that. Like 6 months of 860. That's sick. Any,
Yeah, I
Molina
think
Mike,
it's
would you?
I think it's a bit premature still. I think the jury's still out, at least for my money. And I love the kid. He's cold-blooded, and not just when it comes to tournament play, but when it comes to gambling. And uh, he's a special talent. But I can't put him in that kind of tier yet. I mean, like I think he's a top-tier player. Let me say that. But I mean, like as far as results-wise, I still need to see more because it's not like how I saw Jason go on a tear years ago. It's not like how we've seen Dennis go on a tear years ago. It's not like how I've seen Shane go on a tear years ago. Now, this may be the beginning of it. He's certainly capable, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up, winning one, if not two events out here at least. But I want to pump the brakes just a little bit on it.
Panozzo?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, he's a great player, and he's showing what kind of talent he has. I think he's still learning. I mean, you see him. He loves these other games. He loves trying straight pull. He loves trying one pocket. He's trying banks. He's learning so much more about the game that he's eventually going to add into his rotation. It's going to make it stronger and stronger. But yeah, I think he needs to go out and have that breakout year to be in that conversation with Shane and Jason, and now someone like Albin. I mean, to me, Albin was kind of always kind of that next tier too until last year when he just blew everybody out. So yeah, I think Fedor needs to have one of those years where he wins two majors and makes Mosconi Cup and performs well, whatever, to be at that like top 5 type of level.
And I'll say this because he's starting 22 very strong. Turning Stone Classic, he goes and plays Jason in the final whenever he was up in the final and had full control until Jason just went into, bazooka mode, and there's no shame in losing to Jason. Obviously, we saw what happened after Turning Stone to see what kind of gear that he has. And then Fedor follows that up with winning, 25,000, defending his crown out there in Arizona in a format that's very, very tough to go and defend. Like I'm surprised, but the kid is just. Mike said it right. He's just learning so much that even with a terrible format and a break, right? Because that break is kind of tough with a triangle and a ref. Like he still has control of the ball. He still can go and break and adapt when it comes to how he's going to go and hit that. He's moving better. His safety play is improving. He's definitely the best jumper on the planet, for my money. So I don't know
Not
what
close.
tools he lacks. You can't go and like nitpick too much about him, but to start off with a second, a runner-up finish, and then a first-place finish at that field, he's starting off 22. Incredible.
Yeah, we could very possibly be calling Fedor Mr. 1000 in the next couple of years.
He's obviously a special talent. I just want to see him get to that next level of not of burying Jason at Turning Stone, and then winning Arizona when he said he played horrible. He didn't have a good match. He said he only played one really good match the whole time.
Right.
So you want to see him hit that gear where it's just like he's the favorite in every tournament he walks into. Then and he's going to get there. I mean, he's got way too much talent, and like he's still learning everything. So he's going to get there. It's just once he hits that switch, then it's going to be something really cool.
Send that message to your sister.
I mean, he
Barely 22, right? Or is he
pretty
just
young.
over 22?
Pretty young. He's a babe.
He wasn't even allowed at the last Derby. He wasn't even of age to be here 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And world champion.
Yeah, and I just read now it is 21 there because of the
21
contract
left.
they have. They went off the water and onto the land at the casino there.
I think he's due for a really special year, but it's so hard because it's unfair to go and compare anyone to Albin right now because what Albin did was not special to go and win major after major after
three
major,
major events.
But he really did set a new standard, But I don't think Albin wants any part of him gambling. I'll tell you that.
Guaranteed doesn't want any part of it. But yeah, Alvin and
Does
Reyes
anybody?
had been waiting a while to see Alvin. See if
I
he
guess
could have
Alex
one.
does.
Alex will.
Yes, our editor Ryan is going to represent Cue It Up in the event in Wisconsin, in all the
Yeah.
events there.
Yep, I'll be playing in all of the events in Wisconsin for the Predator Tour. I'll be playing the singles, or well, the amateur 8-ball, the amateur 10-ball, the amateur teams, and then I'll be playing the pro 10-ball. My goal is to win one match between the 4 of them.
I'll take the under.
Yeah.
Heads.
Filler and Fedor matchup, yeah. I'd like to see it too.
No, I got a dog like that. Why got?
I'm just
This is
kidding.
why we
I
don't
just
have
like
nice
to give you a
things.
hard time, man.
This is why we don't have nice things.
But at least we have fun.
Now I'm gonna flip a pool table.
Mike, did you get in any events so that you can watch every event?
Yeah, so I'm playing in the one pocket, so I can get in and out. But I'm not expecting to go and cause any waves. I'm just gonna go and enjoy it.
Whoa.
And
You didn't just
I'll
open
be
and say,
lucky-
"I'm
I'll be
sorry.
lucky.
Do you know who I am?" You didn't just do you know who I am card?
No, I don't pull the Neight card around here.
Oh my goodness.
I just show up and I'm gonna enjoy myself and enjoy some table time, and that'll probably be the only time I get to hit balls while I'm here. So I'll be looking forward to it. But really, I'm excited to see a great week of pool. Like, you know, this is a special event, and there's so many things that go on, you know, inside and out the entire time. From
Well, I'm
money being
interested in
won
how
lost
who you're going to
champions
play
being crowned.
and how you do there, you know? So you got to let us know about that, Mike.
Yeah, man, for sure.
You got to start
He'll be
yourself
on the streaming
up.
table.
Yeah,
Start
my
your
luck.
a professional pool player page.
That's the next goal.
I think one of the cool things about Derby City, and if you're down there the whole time with you, Mike, is to see, you know, how happy and fresh people look right now, and then to look at those same people at the end of the event.
Oh man, I tell you,
it takes everything out of you.
Yeah, no, yeah. It reminds
How
me
do you
of
guys think
Vegas.
after Mr. 714 did that he's going to have enough in the tank? Do you think after that week of solid play, blisters all over his feet and hands, and a whole bottle of Advil, what really do you think is? We're going to find out tonight at 7:30 when he plays Shaheen. But what do you think about his tank? Is it going to be half empty?
He looks fresh. Like
He looks
I was
fresh.
gonna say, I'm
Yeah,
sure he hasn't done a thing for the last 2
I mean,
days
he's still like
besides be pampered.
he's in his early 30s.
Yeah.
You know, like it'd
32,
be different if
33?
he was. Yeah, it'd be different if he was like, you know,
My
I
age.
can't even say Dennis or Alex, because Dennis or Alex can play for hours and hours for weeks at a time without being tired. But it's not like he's Efron's age, you know. He's still, when I seen him, he looked in good spirits, had a pep in his step, and just, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to go and play him. Like,
Okay.
you know, but besides like the Saints and
So he might come out even stronger.
I mean, would it surprise you, Rob, if he goes and snaps off the Bigfoot, you know, back to back, or the 9-ball? I don't think it would surprise many people.
Fedor or
Okay.
Jason.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll have to ask him how his leg is doing, Mike, because he told me that he almost didn't go to Turning Stone because he had a strain in his Achilles, the top of his Achilles up in his calf, where he couldn't even touch the back of his leg and could barely walk. And he told me he just kind of like limped around Turning Stone, and it was really still sore. But you know, to be up for 14 hours at a time playing straight pool, I'm assuming that that's all better. But you just wonder, you know, when you keep playing and you've got some nagging injury, it can jump up into your pain.
When I go to the mall with my daughters for a few hours, I feel like that. I don't know how for 14 hours. You know what I mean? Like the guy's just superhuman. He's a special talent.
He's a freak, man. He's a freak on it.
Well, it was good to hear that he's hopping around there and stuff, and you know, got his head held high. He's got a little bounce in his step. That's
yeah. I mean,
that's
I'm curious.
pretty
to
good
see,
observation.
Like I'm curious to see how the Americans really respond, because I wouldn't be surprised if this next string of like gauntlet events is won by nothing but Europeans. Honestly, I
Right.
wouldn't. And I'll say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a Federer even won the one pocket.
I was gonna say, if a one pocket is won by
Yeah.
European, we're in a lot of trouble.
I would not be surprised, because the way those guys bank the balls and run balls so good, you know.
Or at least a Filipino.
And it's
Like,
a,
I,
and, it's, and, it, and
if
it's
an
show
American or
racing, man.
Filipino doesn't win, yeah, it is. It is. So,
Yeah. It's gambling.
yeah. So I guess
Is
there's one other
Chip
thing I wanted to
Compton entered in the one pocket there, Mike?
No, I think Chip's going to Romero's place out there in Louisiana. He's getting ready for his match with Justin Hall, and then
Okay.
playing in a tournament that is right after Derby. So I think he's traveling right now.
Huh. Well, there's one person that should be there.
What were you saying, Nate?
I was gonna say there's one more thing I wanted to discuss about the Arcadia Open. I guess. How about Naoki Oi? That shout. How about that? 14-13. You see that one?
Yeah.
You got to know what I'm talking about, Mike.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty exciting.
No, I saw it live because this guy was live on Facebook at the time. So I'm watching it in the moment, and the CSI's post was a little misleading because they missed early on. Like, Oi missed, I think, within the first 4. I can't remember what number it was, maybe like 2 or something he misses. So then they're going neck and neck from there. Atencio goes second, so he's got a chance to close him out on the back end of 4, right? If he makes number 4, he's done, because then it's 4-3 and it's over with. And he misses it, and he shoots to the right. He misses it, and then it ends up being sudden death. And then from there, I guess it was like 10 or 11 straight innings of just made pots. And the crazy thing about it is that Oi's fundamentals are like worse than Dennis Graves.
Terrible.
Yes.
He's just shifting and left and right.
Dude, he's doing a samurai
I mean,
sword.
like,
Like he's
it's
got
so
his
incredible the way
whipping
that he
around
hits the
above his
ball so
head.
pure. Yeah. And Jesus is just smooth, man. Like, just smoothing him in over. And you think, like, okay, this is it, because the kid just came back with it. Zoy in the hole, you know. And I mean, there was time, and you know, like in a shootout, there's moments when like you see the jaw kind of, you know, rattling up, and then it would take, and I'd be like, oh man, who's gonna go and flinch first? It was pretty special, and I think that's the beauty of and the genius behind what those guys at CSI are doing. And I think this is a case where they know better than the players, because the players hate that format, and that's being, you know, polite about it. They hate that format. They think they know better when it comes to how it ought to be done, right? But this is translating into viewers. That one video from Predator had like 400,000 views on it, man. You know,
I'll tell you what,
if
pool was relevant,
all the way around. Whenever
if pool was relevant, that would have made ESPN. There's no way. There's no way it doesn't make PTI. If pool is relevant, that would be on PTA, and Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon would be ripping apart, like just talking about his samurai sword shot.
we were in Vegas doing like live streaming on the side, and we ended up catching Chang and Graves, like whatever it was, like 17 straight or something, 16 straight, something like that. And that was really special. But what people didn't see was that entire area was full of people. I mean, it was jam packed in there whenever there's a shootout, and it's like that so many times. And it's not just with both players, like it's with the quote unquote, you know, no name, or, you know, not as highly recognized players. When the shootouts come, people want to watch, man. You know, they really found something here in that format where it really makes it exciting from beginning to end. And you see players play differently when they're playing a race to 4. You just do, because right away it's torqued up pressure.
Yeah, out of the box.
Immediate.
They got it immediate. The first ball they shoot is like the last rack, and it's hill.
And those mistakes will compound.
I would like to see in the shootout a shot from the center of the table as the third shot. You know, go from the right side to the left side, then the center of the table. More difficult shot for one of those three turns at the table. I don't think you'd have 11 or
I
12
think
in a
that
row doing that.
No,
I think
I
that
don't think
I think they have to play a four rail. I think the third shot should be a four railer. That'd be fun. Okay, never mind. Dumb idea.
Or how about
So,
a jump shot, Nate? How would that do for you?
Well, I got a better chance then. So I guess is there anything else anybody wanted to discuss about the Arcadia? I mean, another great event for Predator. Predator's doing amazing things. This tour looks like it has some serious promise, and it looks like it's here to stay. I mean,
they had
that's
like I think 12 spots open for the next event. So that's awesome to go and see that now it's starting to fill up. It's kind of unfortunate
Well,
that it's mostly from European players and people outside the U.S. But regardless, there's great
and
players
dead
that are
money.
entering and
Europeans and
the
dead money
Neights
will
of the
sell.
world. Yes.
Yeah, the dead monies.
Right.
And the
I'll be
viewers
rooting for
can
everybody.
watch. They can watch a pay-per-view on AccuStats for the matches where you are at now at the Derby, Mike. Is that correct?
Yeah, they can. Well, they can watch the TV table. That's it. I think there's like it's still pretty, Stone Age to think that out of all these tables that are here, you only got one mainstream. So that
Okay.
part
It's pretty gross.
is frustrating. Is not even the word for it. But I also know that they are doing something with digital pool where live scoring. But to be honest with you, when I walked in the room, maybe like 2 hours ago or so, when they're in the middle of banks, like you have players doing this to the tablets, like trying to figure out like how to go and do it. And I don't know how many times out of all the players that I saw going and doing that, like trying to go and figure out the tablet, they were like you can just visibly see that they're annoyed with it and frustrated with it, but they're not even wanting to do it. So I'm curious to see
Okay.
how that'll go and turn out. But yeah, they do a good job though on the TV table. I'll give them credit for that for sure.
So it's just one table that's streamed.
Yeah, and right now, until they get done with the Bigfoot, that's all they're going to be showing until it's done. And then as soon as it's over, they'll take that table out and bring in the 9-footer, and then they'll be showing everything else: banks, 9-ball, one pocket, you name it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so I guess do we want to discuss the Music City Open at all? Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I mean, congrats to
I mean,
Shane Wolford, but it's a bar table event when he should have been at the Predator Open with all the major players.
I'm
for
gonna
my
argue
money.
that.
Agreed.
And I'll see Hennessy go online on social media saying replying to Emily Frazier's comments. How about me for Mosconi Cup? How about me for Mosconi Cup? How about you go and play on
Yeah.
big tables with everybody else in the world? And
Yeah.
and I think it's a conscious decision by those guys, smart business wise, to go and avoid it intentionally for the sake of trying to go and make more money. So I'm not going to knock them for that because it's smart. But it's like then you can't go and be compared to the best players in the country or in the world if you're, for lack of a better word, diving.
Playing on Valley tables.
But
Uh,
yeah, no, I've never played on diamonds. But Shane, to his credit, did go and play a lot last year. I wish I would
Yeah.
have seen him go and play that event out in Tucson.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting, but like I'm perfectly okay with like Shane or Justin Mason or anybody like that. Just at the end of the day, like they're going to a lot of these events basically to donate, and there's no reason they can't take not through 16th or even 7th, 8th if they have a really good event, somewhere in there. But I'm okay with them taking these shots at a tournament every now and then. Because if they take that $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that make, and they reinvest in their career, that gives them three bolts at a Predator event. So you play one of those crap.
Yeah, but then
I
you
shouldn't
can't
say
use
crap.
that. You can't use that win or that finish as like a badge of honor at the end of the year to go and be talked about for a Mosconi Cup or anything when it comes to top players. Like
Well,
you can't.
I don't.
It's like that. That's fine to go in and like fill back up the bank account, but then
I
that doesn't
don't know
necessarily
if
mean you did anything against anybody.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know if I agree with you just because of the fact that who give the resume of why Tyler Chris made the team last year. Did either one of them have a win on their resume that was as good as Shane Wolford winning Music City Open? I mean, Tyler the second place at the Australian Open.
Yes. Yes.
What was it?
just by nature of competing in those top events on the big table with the good players.
There you go.
You know, the Music City Open, we should refer to those tournaments as fundraisers. Because that's what they are. They're fundraisers for these guys
that's what I'm
to
saying.
raise
Yeah,
the
that's what
money
I'm saying.
to go to these other events. If you want to be, listen, if you want to be a pro player, this is what you got to do. You have to invest the time, you got to invest the money. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine. I understand that. But don't come and talk to me about missed opportunities or you should be considered, because no, you really shouldn't. So,
Well, so
if you're going to be on the pro tour, you need to approach it that way. And the Europeans
So then-
treat themselves as pro athletes trying to be on a pro tour.
The only thing to that, Mike, is that I'll say that they're not going to give any credit, at least like publicly, about the weight of Tucson because it's a 10-ball event, you know. So for that sake of argument, you know, that's the leg they got to kind of go back and stand on. But it's still seeing how they go and match up against the top players on earth, right? Because
so Mike, let me ask
I know
you
we
this
don't got
question.
the Taiwanese or the Chinese players here, but still.
Yeah, Mike, let me ask
Go
you
ahead.
this question then. So at the end of the year, let's say Chris has a season similar to last year, where he doesn't have a stable win on his resume. Do you think that Music City Open gives Shane Wolford a leg up on Chris if Chris goes to a tournament and doesn't make the final 16? Do you think that that should be taken into account? Not at all.
No.
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 I don't. I mean, I don't know if I disagree. I don't know if I disagree with you. I'm just. I'm asking.
I'm not looking at it as Shane versus Chris. I'm looking at it as Shane versus any other American player who should be considered for Moscone. If you want to be considered for Moscone, you play in the events to get you considered for Moscone. Don't bring me your Music City resume because I'm not interested.
Now that we have this, that.
Tell us how you really feel, Mike.
Yeah, right. Now
Jim's not here. Someone's got to do it.
I know. There you go.
And now, but the only thing is like this is a bad timing for. I'm not even really making an argument. I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate because I'm on the same page as you actually. But like this is a bad time for my argument, right? Because the matchroom calendar is up, and you know exactly how to qualify if you're an American. But last year, let's say that matchroom isn't available, and that is, you know, we're still asking the question, how the hell do you make the Moscone Cup team if you're American? Then, you know, maybe it's different then. I don't know. I mean, I really don't.
Maybe I say take the new system. Let's go forward.
But like if that's the case, then at the end of the year, if it's close, then you start splitting hairs, right? Like I'm gonna give a lot more weight to going, you know, halfway deep in Predator events because of how, you know, deep the talent pool is versus winning a bar table event when nobody showed up there. You know?
Yep. I agree.
Your big win is
you're playing against Hennessy and Shane McMahon. You're probably not. Nope. Like I said, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. I don't actually believe my argument, but I think that there's at least I think you could at least make an argument that if the resumes are the same and they're not good, then, you know, take a regional fundraiser event, as you like to call it, and maybe you can take them into account. But maybe you can. I don't know. I guess that I mean, I like the idea that we're talking about the Music City Open and you're calling it a fundraiser. I like that because that means that we're getting real events that actually mean something. It's good. It's a good state for pool.
It's a good problem to go and have, you know. But there's always going to be those guys who are, you know, what I would consider like, you know, third-tier regional players who just want to go and play bar table events, and that's how they want to go and make their living, and that's fine. Like, you know, be that guy. Yeah, no problem with it. But then don't go and complain that you're not considered for. Don't
make a YouTube video talking about how you want to play somebody on the Moscow Cup team, right?
But I think he would play Chris.
I think he will. I'm sure he would. Yeah, but that's everything on my calendar as far as stuff that we needed to talk about. Is there anything any of you guys want to discuss?
Nice decision to shave.
Shave.
Decision.
Cleaning up. Trying to be like
Yeah.
Shave. It's time to manscape up.
You guys can check my sweet pool room.
Very
Banging
nice.
a couple balls on the rails today.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think it's Rob's shaving. Oh yeah, we'd probably do well, I won't do a Manscaped ad. I will just play one when we go out of here. So we have one set up. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys, and have some fun, Mike. Don't have too much fun. Have a little
Melina,
bit of
I
fun
want to
down
hear
there.
from you. I want
if,
some
Mike-
messages. I want
For
some
sure.
DMs.
Oh, Piatus. Hey, pleasure, boys. Yeah, we'll catch up, man. Yeah, man, we'll do some
Mike,
more stuff this week.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna try to
if I make finals,
I'm gonna try to just do a bunch of stuff this week. So
Good.
let's try to bring a different Derby City to guys' homes. You know.
Yeah. Give it a shot.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Mike, and if I make the final 16 in Wisconsin, you got it. I want you on a plane to come up here and cheer me on with pom poms. All right.
And
you
if
make
I
the final
play in it,
16
get my eyes
Wisconsin,
fixed and play in it, and I play
I'll shave
Nate,
my head.
we're going to stream it.
Is your head already shaved?
It is. You know, that was part of the joke, man.
All right. If I make the final 16, you gotta finally send me some pocket gear.
Oh, you'll get that either way, buddy. So, but we'll gamble something. We'll make it friendly.
We can have fun with it. We can have fun with it.
Find
All
a
right.
manufacturer of white pool gloves, please. Somebody for me, will you?
We'll work on it.
I need
Rob.
a white and a yellow pool glove so that I don't shoot the wrong ball on the hill again.
There you go.
Rob can tell the difference between white and yellow and beards.
All right, boys. Well,
Good deal.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. So thanks
I
everybody for
appreciate it.
tuning
We'll come
in.
back soon.
Yep. Thanks everybody for tuning in here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks. Cheers.
Now the shop podcast was definitely more fun than this.
Well, guys, guess what? We get to do an awesome Manscaped ad.
I've been waiting for this.
You are excited. I'm telling you what, it's like a 3-year-old on Christmas morning, just waiting for Panozzo to be able to talk about the lawnmower 4.0. And Molina hasn't even smiled since he found out that we had to do this. So how are you feeling, Molina?
That's all I got.
Jim, how are you feeling?
I even prepared some before and after pictures that I'll post later on.
Yeah, we'll post those to the
Really?
to the
I
Give It
just
Up page.
I just want to know what 3-year-old on Christmas is using this.
That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I'm just talking the level of
I'm
excitement.
not sure. I'm not
No.
sure the child reference is really appropriate.
Wow.
Yeah,
Instantly kicked off.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. That's like you won't
I think
have
I
to do
just-
this again, Nate, because you just lost
Yeah.
your sponsorship.
Well, until we lose it, let's talk about it.
absolutely.
So, you, as the viewer, can show your support for the Cue It Up podcast by going to manscaped.com, where you have the opportunity to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code QItUpPod. You could get yourself an amazing lawnmower 4.0. And Jim says your balls will thank you. So how do we do this? What is the Manscaped 4.0? The Manscaped 4.0 is the best men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. There it is, Jim. Show it off. Check that
Damn.
out. Molina's
Hmm.
like,
It's sweet.
Hmm.
I promise
The
you, you
fo-
could shave the hair off a balloon with this.
that's also true. We tested it. We have.
You
we have
can't
the
buy
videos.
these kind of testimonials. Let me tell you.
No, you
No.
can't.
They
The
say
Lawnmower
they're awesome.
4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code QItUpPod. at manscaped.com. And that is going to be right in the chat. So check it out there. And if we get a bunch of these, you are going to be able to support us with actual funding for the podcast from Manscaped. So please take the opportunity. Awesome. Turn it on, Jim. Fly it across the screen, loud and proud.